Maybe I just have to start by saying, when we came up with that theme, we looked at what is currently happening within our environment, countries, and also, in our continent or worldwide. Because of the, drastic changes in terms of technology, in terms of, climatic conditions, and the socio-economic issues, we have realized that, our society lacks skills, and we have more people that are focusing more on traditional knowledge. And we would like now to make sure that, our products that are coming from institutions of higher learning or institutions that are responsible for basic education are equipped with more skills, practical skills, that they will be able now to do things with their own hands. So meaning that, all our teaching and learning activities will be more on competency-based education. So inspirations came because of the global change that are coming up, and they require, people with skills and knowledge.
Mm-hmm. So how have global disruptions like the COVID-19 pandemic, technological advancements, as well as geopolitical conflicts influenced education systems, especially here in Namibia?
Yes, if you look at what happened during COVID-19, COVID-19 taught us that, if we are not more on skills-based education, meaning that we are not producing people with skills, and they will be able to produce or, to offer or innovate, products or services that can be used by their own people. So once, a pandemic comes up like, COVID-19, where the borders are closed, then that specific society will suffer because, we will end up not having certain products, and probably we over-rely on certain, certain products that are coming from other countries. So once the borders are closed, then it will be difficult for us now to survive. Therefore, people with skills, they will be able now to initiate ideas, innovate ideas, create, products that or services that will benefit, their own people during that time. If you look at the issues of, unemployment, it's a global phenomenon. It's an issue. And this unemployment, led to a situation whereby, societies or governments or institutions can no longer absorb the number of graduates that are coming from, educational institutions. As a result, if these people only have got theoretical knowledge and they don't have practical skills that will enable them to create jobs for themselves or for others, then it will be difficult. So for that, it really, necessitated us to think of, creatively and innovatively. Other issues is just like, war. If, countries are at war, it means that if that country used to be, to be the economic engine of a certain country elsewhere, and now there's war, it means that, those products and services that we used to export or import, then that process is not going to take place, and therefore you will not be able to be independent. So also issues of economic sanctions, we know that, the Western countries are placing on the, global South countries. They might also, teach you a lesson that at some point you really need to stand on your own, and you should be able to feed yourself in terms of food, to have enough, food for your people, to have enough infrastructure on your own, to have enough designers on your own, and any other, responsible profession that is needed in your country. So all these things, influences, the education system, and as a result, the education system now is overwhelmed with the request from the industry that we should produce people with skills rather than focusing on traditional knowledge-based, education system.
Well, Doctor, I was about to ask you what you believe are the key skills that learners need in today's world to succeed, and how educators should adapt to imparting these skills.
Yes, one of them is that, the education system or educational institutions, they really need to change or completely transform or revamp their curricula. We are not saying all along we do not have skills-based education element within our curriculum. The education, skills-based education, element has been there. What we need to do is to foster them to start, implementing them, meaning we teach, less theory and we expose, our product or students, to, practical way of doing things. For example, placing these learners or placing these, students, at, with specific organizations where they will be able, to gain extra skills. The other issues, the skills that they need is critical thinking. Without critical thinking in this specific era, our graduates or our, elements of the society will suffer. Flexibility, adaptability, digital literacy skills, very important in this era where we are. Civic engagement skills, they are really needed. And more importantly, lifelong learning skills that will also, facilitate, workplace learning. Meaning, once these people leave the institutions of higher learning, or maybe secondary school or primary school, they should be able to have that courage to continue acquiring knowledge and skills. And they should put it into use when they are no longer in the system. So those are just some of the skills that we have: flexibility, adaptability, creativity, lifelong learning, civic education, and digital literacy. Very critical in this era.
Right. So, Doctor, one of the panels is focused on preparing innovative skills-based educators. In your view, what does an innovative educator look like in today's context?
An innovative educator or skills-based educator in this century is someone that is, more competency-based focused. What do I mean here is that, as an educator, your aim is to instill or impart skills onto your subordinates, rather than, your focus being on imparting or instilling knowledge. We have so many people that still, strongly believe that, education is all about imparting knowledge onto the people. But we want to change, the phenomenon. We want to change the way we are doing things so that we will start now focusing on making sure that people have acquired more practical skills. Somebody that is also, self-driven. We want somebody that is more creative naturally, somebody that is, naturally enjoying what he or she is doing, somebody who likes, relating teaching and learning to the current situations that are taking place within that specific context. That is a person that we are looking for. And, for some of us, we lack those elements. And because we lack those elements, we need to be capacitated, we need to be refreshed, and that's the purpose of this specific, conference, and the goal that at the end of the day, we'll be able now to know the strategy to prepare an innovative, skill-based educator fitting in the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. So, Doctor, talk to us about some of the specific challenges that educators are facing when it comes to integrating skills-based learning in traditional curriculum frameworks.
Yes, culturally, and I think this is happening, in most of the African countries. The first thing is, the manpower or human resources. Meaning, we do not have skilled people. We have, graduates, we have workers that are more knowledge-based. So meaning that we need to capacitate our own people. Another challenge that they are facing is infrastructure, that even if you want to be more innovative, you want to expose your students or your learners or whoever that falls under your teaching and learning environment to practical situations. You might not have the necessary equipment. If you have the necessary equipment, issues of connectivity is a problem. Issues of, having laboratory equipment is a problem in most of the countries. And sometimes also the technical know-how on how better a person can prepare, students to become innovative, skills-based, graduates. So those challenges are common everywhere, and it is also, hampering the way we are implementing, our skills-based, education curriculum. Another issue or challenge that we have is also, the context or cultural elements, political interference also, many of our, education systems and the way teachers and educators would like to do things. The politics usually play a role, and they might influence the way we are delivering our services. If we can have a minimal interference of, political situations, and the politics can only come in when it's required, I think educators will be able to deliver more. So, but we have more challenges. I just highlighted a few.
Of course. So how can schools and universities then ensure that students are not only academically prepared, but they are also equipped with practical or real world skills?
I would like to suggest that both institutions of higher learning and, basic education institutions, as well as our non-formal education entities, the ones that are providing, adult education. So they need to spend at least maybe 70% of their, trainings or learning and development interventions on practice. Practice and practice. They should learn how to do things. If maybe their curriculums are not, skills-based focused, they need to revamp, they need to transform. Also, we need to refresh our employees and facilitators so that they'll change their attitude from knowledge-based to skills-based. We need to invest in appropriate technologies, and it is not just a matter of investing in appropriate technologies, but it is a matter of us, training these people, preparing our environment to, utilize, appropriate technologies with the purpose of coming up with a skills-based, graduate or outcome.
So, Doctor, what role would you say technology plays in fostering a skills-based education, and how can educators leverage this to make sure that learning is more effective?
Yes, one key element of technology is that, it, encourages, creativity. It makes a person to think about a problem that specific person is having and, coming up with a solution. Usually, I'm always telling people that this is where we can say the theory and the goal behind having mathematics education in schools will come in place. Because this is where you'll be able now to put, theory into practice when you are using, technologies to solve this specific problem. So, but, in as much as technology have created that, environment, or it's created that opportunities for us to be more creative and, innovative, the capacity and willingness, also, affecting the process of, making sure that, skills-based education is taking place. Another issue is that, technology made things easier, and also, it made, learning more accessible, informally. I'm talking about informally, that you can learn, or acquire certain skills through technologies without even attending, a formal education structure. That's the reason why the main focus nowadays is on lifelong learning, to ensure that people will develop, internal, motive to acquire skills so that they will be self-independent.